I know, it's Christmas, and during Christmas people are supposed to be taking breaks. But I felt guilty that throughout the newest expansion for Legends of Runeterra, I haven't talked about a single card. That could be because, well, Yordles are not really that interesting without real context on Universe. But recently we got 2 new champions which are really interesting for the current lore of League of Legends. Especially Ahri reveals something cool, and Pantheon has some nice flavor details. So today we will do something which we haven't done in a while. We will explain the lore behind the newest cards of Legends of Runeterra. But it's still Christmas, so I won't do it in too much detail. So now, without further ado, let's have a look at the interesting thing that Ahri revealed. As you can see based on her design in Legends of Runeterra, she is wearing her cloak. This is the cloak you might remember from the end of the Spirit Blossom event, where she sailed off with Yasuo. No spoilers, but this is the same cloak she wears in the Ruined King game. Because Ahri was quite important in that game, we know that all of these cards are happening before the Spirit Blossom stories. It was before she found Yasuo and she hired him to be her bodyguard. Speaking of which, super quickly, if you listen to the interactions of these cards, yeah, no massive spoilers, but there is a reason why Ahri talks like this to Yasuo.
Death is like the wind, always by my side.
Right. Hasagi.
I mean, they were literally shipped. Anyway, the descriptions of these cards are not really that important. They just talk about how Ahri traveled around Ionia as she was looking for some kind of a hint as to what to do with her own life. Remember, up until this point, Ahri never learned what tribe she was from. She was an orphan from the very beginning, and she never learned who her parents were. All she had was a pair of sunstones in her pocket. On her journey through Ionia, she meets some interesting creatures such as the Mourned. These things were actually referenced in some of the stories on Universe. We know that these are the protectors of Omikayalan, the God Willow, also known as the World Tree. One day, a Freljordian known as Ivern the Cruel came here to seek that magic. And after realizing that the magic came from that tree, and after seeing how ferocious all the animals were around it as they were trying to defend it, true to his name, Ivern was so cruel, he cut the tree down in front of all the creatures. Of course, after he hit the tree, its light blinded everyone, and the next time he woke up, the essence of Omikayalan went into Ivern, and he was essentially transformed into a spirit of Ionia. Remember this story because it will be really important in just a moment. Regardless, this creature is one of the protectors of the God Willow. There are some connected cards to it, such as the Memory Cloak. Those are not really that important. Then there is the Woodland Keeper, which is either a rabbit-like Yordle or a Vastaya. Since you can see all the spirits around it, it might be closer to a Yordle. But basically, this is a creature that has answers to most of your questions. The description mentions that it doesn't speak because it wants to save others from the weight of knowledge. But Ahri wonders if it is just tired of answering questions. Then there is the Pathless Ancient. This creature is supposed to be wise, but because it is a monkey, yes, it also behaves funny every now and then. This creature is called Himon-Shi, and I wonder if this is a play on the words Shimon, because that is Wukong's tribe. Unfortunately, that is something we don't learn about. And then there is the card 9 Lives, which talks about another creature called Gaish. This was an eager volunteer who proved his dedication to become a guardian of the forest, and he proved this with his 10-year nap. And the card connected to this reveals that this is the Liminal Guardian. This is the one who protects the Grove, where Omikayalan once stood. Then there is the Tailcloak Matriarch, which I find kinda weird. You see, this person also has tails, just like Ahri, but this person can't be Vasani, you know, Ahri's tribe. Because the point of Ahri's tribe is that Ahri's tribe is gone, and Ahri has no idea where she could find them. So yeah, this person shouldn't be one of Ahri's tribe. But there is a reason why they have so many tails. They are likely a Vastaya who is honoring the appearance of Sai-Nen, the Thousand-Tailed. I love this gorgeous creature, and I love that we got a card back themed after this. This is essentially the main guardian of the grove. This is likely a demigod. And from the interactions we learned that even though this creature serves the forest also serves it. And the reason why I love it is because, yeah, I really like the fox design and I really like the crown, but it also has hoofs. I wonder if this demigod is somehow related to the Vashani. Then there is the Windsinger. This could be one of the Lothlen, just like Rakan and Xayah, but we honestly don't know. We don't really learn anything about this one. Which brings us to the main part. The awesome reveal of Ahri's cards. The God Willow Seedling. The description says, once the God Willow grew within Omikailan. What springs forth from that place now may be stronger, may be weaker. What matters is that it is new. Now, honestly, I think I misspoke earlier, and I called the God Willow Omikailan, but no, Omikailan is the grove. That's the place where the God Willow grew. And here you can see that after the God Willow was cut down by Ivern the Cruel, the children of the forest planted down its seedling. And right now, they are trying to grow a new world tree. I really like this setup. Because as I mentioned before, Omikailan, and especially the God Willow, was the main point from which magic flew into Ionia. It was called the World Tree for a reason. So seeing the God Willow grow once more seems like a really awesome setup for the future. Like maybe we will need an antidote for another horrible thing, and it may come from the God Willow. Something like that. So yeah, I really love to see what's happening to Omikailan, and I really love the demigod. These might be my favorite reveals of the new expansion. But now, super quickly, because I know people will ask me about it as well, let's also quickly cover Targon. With Pantheon's release in Legends of Runeterra, we also learned about all the different followers that fight alongside him. Pantheon on Targon is essentially the main character who inspires others to fight. And the point of these cards is that he inspired others to fight a literal demon. Just like we have Evelyn and then we have Nocturne, there is also Camphor, the Doubt. Since all demons feed on some kind of emotion, this one too feeds on all of it at the same time. The description mentions that for centuries, Camphor took strength from the strong, wisdom from the wise, but it never cared about any of those boons. Instead, after taking these traits, it feasted on the suffering, doubt and misery. It was a monster in every sense of the word. Also, once again, you know who wrote the lore behind this demon? Yeah, the same guy who writes all the demonic lore. That's why I feel confident talking about this as canon lore. Anyway, here Pantheon essentially assembled three main characters. There is Ashime, the blinded mystic, who had the ability to see the future, but the demon stole her sight and feasted on her inevitable anguish. The reason why I love the design of this card so much is because here you can see the Shuriman side of Targon. In the background you can see that as the deserts go up the mountain, pieces just break apart and float in the air. That's because the higher you get on the mountain, the more mystical the place becomes. And yes, there is a portion of Mount Targon that is connected to the Shuriman Sands. Another cool character is the Saga Seeker, called Thor. Thor is essentially the Olaf of Targon. He is looking for a worthy, glorious death, and he was hoping to find it in his battle against the demon. Also in this card you can see that the demon Camphor has a female face. That's because, just like Evelyn, it has a soothing voice.
Darling Thor, doesn't this feel better?
When this is done, I will claim your head.
And then there is the last character, Ayula. The demon feasted on her grief after her husband died. And what's really awesome is that if you go to the interactions of these cards, you may learn that her husband was Pylus.
Is that Pylus I hear screaming?
You will meet him soon enough, demon.
And Pylus was Pantheon's best friend. He was the one who climbed Mount Targon together with Atreus. But as Atreus ascended and became Pantheon, Pylus died at the peak of Mount Targon. And Ayula was his wife. In Pantheon's level up animation, we know how the saga of Camphor the Doubt ended. The description even mentions that Pantheon took up his spear and swore to drive all gods and demons from this land we call home. So yeah, Pantheon destroyed it. And here is where I want to mention one more thing. This goopy black creature previously appeared in some of the outdated lore. I genuinely don't know if this is still referenced somewhere in Leona's lore. I just know that in the past it was there. It might be retconned now. But in the past, there was a story where before Leona ascended, on one of her expeditions around Mount Targon, she fought some dark creatures that gooped black ooze when slain. This description fits this demon really well. But for some reason, they were never referenced ever again. It was a one-off enemy that just randomly appeared in Leona's story. So now I wonder if this entire time, those weird goopy creatures came from this demon. Because here it is said that this demon stalked Mount Targon for centuries. Regardless, I really like this demon's design, so it is unfortunate to see that, yep, they are gone. Pantheon annihilated it. And that's really all I wanted to talk about. There is also the Wounded White Flame, which is one of the dragons that were probably created in the image of Aurelian's soul. You can either see Aurelian's soul star in the background, or that might be Pantheon falling down onto Runeterra. And then there is the Freed Colossus. Apparently, these are the protectors of Targon's most revered sites. So I wonder if this one is protecting Pantheon's weaponry? I mean, isn't he wearing it on his person the entire time? So why is it here in a galactic vault? Don't get me wrong, I really love this. But come on, Legends of Runeterra, don't confuse me again. I still have PTSD from that one.